started off on a good note.
Yeah, Ren just informed us Dick Butkus died. Is that for real or is that some kind of hoax?
Yeah, no, that just came through on ESPN.
Ah, damn it. All right. All right, welcome everybody. This is what? College football week 6, NFL week 5, second annual football free-for-all. Ian won last week, so he'll essentially call out the games. I'll read out the basic info, and then he'll take it from there this week. So, yeah, and then also, Ian, you sent us some stats, which I thought were pretty good. Yeah, this past week, as the three of us went, overall 16 of 24, 66%, 9 of 17 in the NFL, 53%. So, yeah, that's about 60%, 61%. That's not bad. So, yeah, anyways, as always, does anyone have anything on the game right now or tonight that's in at 7?
Couple games, huh?
Bears and Commanders.
I think
football.
honestly that's gonna be. I think the Commanders are better than you think. I think it's gonna go. All I think it's gonna go is the over.
I think the
can't
Bears
pick the
could go
winner of
like
that one.
0-16, dude.
Do what?
I think the Bears could go 0-16 or 1-15.
Nah, dude. They could score. They just end up losing in miraculous fashion every week.
Yeah, the line was like 6.5, 7. I saw it at 6, so I put a 20 spot on it for some fun. But yeah, I mean, I think Commanders -6 is a good number. I think the Bears. Fields had a good game last week. I think people might be hoping for a little too much, but yeah, I got Washington in that one.
But it could be the same thing with the Commanders. Like, what are the odds they really do that against the Eagles 9 out of 10 times?
I don't know. Not good.
I don't know. I don't know, Ren. I can't see the future.
Yeah.
But Sam Howell, I did not know was drafted like number 2 years ago. I've always been saying that UNC quarterback, but he was pretty good. He was carving up the Eagles last week.
Yeah. All right, Ian. Start us off. What's the first game?
All right, let's start with Kentucky. I'm going Kentucky. I'm taking the 14.5 at Georgia. Kentucky's undefeated. They're not world beaters on either side of the ball, but they're probably, I'd say, above average on both. And it's more to the fact that you're giving an undefeated team over 2 touchdowns and a hook, 14.5 against Georgia, who we've seen struggle. They're definitely the better team. Not picking the upset here, but Georgia's second half stuff, until they start proving they're going to run away from these teams, I'm going to take a 2 touchdown, undefeated team in the points. So pretty easy logic for me.
I guess you go ahead, Ren.
I would pretty much what he said, but I think Kentucky, they're always good at defense. They could definitely run the ball. I actually think they have the better quarterback of the two. I think Georgia, besides, they played a bunch of, basically scrubs. They played Cincinnati. When they played a Power 5 school, they really struggled. Let's see. I think, 14.5, and it's at Kentucky. So, and Georgia's had trouble scoring, period. Like, without Bowers, I think they would be in serious trouble. So, I'll take Kentucky in the points for 2.
Yeah, I think we all agree on this one. I have Kentucky in a couple big parlays with the +15. So I just think that's so many points. Georgia hasn't really proven that they can just track race teams and put up 35, 42 points. So I don't know. That just seems like a lot. I think Kentucky can manufacture some offense, at least keep it close. Yeah, I'm kind of with Ian. 5-0 in the SEC. They beat Florida pretty handily. Spanked Vanderbilt like they should have. So I mean, Kentucky looks good, right? At least you're supposed to beat teams like that, right? Kentucky doesn't look like they're worthy of a 2-touchdown deficit. So I definitely took Kentucky in the points. I even took Kentucky straight up in some, parlays for fun, like 2 or 3 teams that I think are some big underdogs this week that I think maybe can win, and they were one of them. So I don't know if I'm going to take them as a super dog or OU, but it's essentially between Kentucky or OU as my underdog play this week.
Just to add on something, if Georgia wasn't ranked 1 at the beginning of the year, let's say they were ranked 12, they'd be sliding down the polls, I think.
Yeah, or at least just holding.
Yeah,
I mean, if somebody would have jumped them with a good win, like, you know what I mean? If like let's say Michigan was 13 and they were 12, like Michigan would have jumped them by now.
Maybe if Georgia didn't have its past, and they also didn't have two. You're not supposed to think about the past 2 years, but for sure it's factored in because people know the talent's still there. If this was like a clean slate, then maybe they're ranked somewhere in the middle.
Well,
I think that's what you're going for.
I think they're semi still worthy of the 1 ranking, at least by default. They've had like some of the best recruiting classes. I mean, I know they lost their quarterback, but they still have talent all over the field. I mean, they have some of the best athletes and players. They're definitely up there with Alabama, essentially, if not more. I think by default they should be 1, but I don't know. In college football, like it's hard to slide when you keep winning. Like I can't really think of a lot of teams that, like maybe 1 spot at the most you might slide if you win a game, but like I don't know. That just seems to be like a really rare thing.
Well, I do think they definitely deserve to be number 1. I was just saying, I think if they were more in the middle, there might have been a chance they would have dropped a slot or 2. Like had they not been ranked 1. It's hard to drop when you're 1 and you're winning, and you've won like 20 straight games or something.
Yeah, I mean they beat South Carolina and Auburn by like a total of 17 points. So I guess like you expect them to beat them each by a couple touchdowns, but new quarterback and everything. I guess like I think the way this line is like this is because I think people expect this guy to take the next step or improve. I think they just take it as a gimme. I don't know, like the offense just seems like they're struggling, and really not even so much the quarterback. They can't even run the ball that good in like this year so far. 150 yards rushing again against some scrubs essentially. Like Georgia should be running for 200 yards a game in my opinion. But Kentucky's averaging 170.
Really their strength. Kentucky's defense is stout. I mean, that's really their calling card the last 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah, so they're only allowing 76 rushing yards a game. That's I mean
that's insane.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think this one's easy. All right, what's the next one, Ian?
All right, let's go with taking Missouri +6 versus LSU. Missouri's Brady Cook. He's now the SEC record holder for passes without an interception. He's kind of just going under the radar there. But their receiver, Luther Burden, is a beast. And LSU's pass defense is garbage. Said it for the last couple of weeks, and then they gave up 706 yards to Ole Miss. Total yards in a game, 706 to Ole Miss. So
damn.
LSU is definitely the more talented team here, but can they stop anybody? And I don't know, 6 points to it. Once again, another undefeated team. They're ranked, 21 and 23. Very similar teams here. I haven't watched a lot of Missouri, but I have seen LSU just get gashed on defense. So I'm going to take the 6 here with Missouri.
Before you go, Ren, I see ESPN has the line at -4 now for LSU. So
that's crazy. It was literally like just 10 minutes ago. It was 6.
Let me see what we got
Something
here.
must have happened.
Bovada's got. Let me see. Hang on.
+4 would make me think about it.
Bovada's got LSU -4 as well. So the public agrees with Ian. They all rushed to go hit that ticket.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really just going with Missouri's undefeated. LSU, I mean, they're 3-2. They do the best player in the country, but he hasn't played up to it. They have been getting gassed on defense, which is crazy for LSU. They're actually been doing decent on offense, but I mean, they lost to Mississippi. They haven't been really playing good the last 3 games, and it's gonna be close. I do think, uh, it also it's gonna go over. It's 4. I mean, that does make me that that makes it even harder. Like, when it was 6, I was easily gonna pick Missouri, but, uh, I was actually gonna pick Missouri outright as, like, a was there's either gonna be them or Oklahoma Superdog, uh, but now that it's just 4, I don't know, give me Missouri for 1.
Yeah, I think I take Missouri in the points here too, at home. Missouri's defense, although I understand they haven't necessarily played anybody, LSU's definitely played a much harder schedule than Missouri. That is
Yeah.
definitely for sure. Mississippi, Arkansas, Mississippi State, Florida State. That might be the hardest schedule so far anyone's played the first 5 games.
Yeah,
I
they
don't know.
started the year
Maybe I don't
yeah.
know. But I guess but give me, if I can get points at home, I would love to get that 6 instead of 4.
Yeah.
But I think even if it's 3, 4, 5, I'll take Missouri. I think, like you said, if Missouri can just get 1 or 2 stops, which I think is possible, more than LSU, I think they easily cover. So, yeah, I'd probably take Mizzou with the points too.
And I think what kind of just thinking about it a little more. Usually, a team where something like that happens, right? They give up 700 yards. The next game, you either find like a lot of corrections are made and they play a lot better in the area that was exposed to the country, right? So, or it goes the other way and they can't, like, it's such a deficiency they can't get over it. So, we're going to find out if LSU's defense is that bad or if they were able to make some corrections that they should be able to with the talent that they have and maybe get right, which would then you would kind of lean, especially with 4 points here. I would probably switch over and just not play the game, or possibly look at the over.
It kinda yeah, it's kind of a must win for LSU's season too.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I think I mean, they will lose another game or 2, I think, but yeah, I think if they lose like 2 in a row like that, I think that's and they'll get knocked out of the rankings. And yeah, this is it kind of feels like a we at least want to at least pretend we still have a season left, right? Instead of losing the 6th game and going 3-3, that just freaking would hurt real bad. All right, what's the next one?
All right, so we got Ohio State -20 versus Maryland. Maryland undefeated. Kind of felt snubbed in the rankings. They got the baby Tua.
Yeah,
Was it probably like his 4th year in college? He's having a good season.
he is almost 1,500 yards, 13 TDs, 3 interceptions. Not bad.
Yeah, and you're getting 20 points to, again, an undefeated team who I'm sure, like, Ohio State's going to win this game, but maybe they don't have a lot of sacks, Ohio State, but they do lead the country in quarterback pressure. So if they're able to get there and they're able to get after what is his name? Talia Tagovailoa?
Angela in
If
the
they're able to
background?
get after him, yeah, she just got home. Then I think they make it hard on Maryland. Maybe it's a close game at half, but then Ohio State's got a lot more depth. Maybe they pull away at the end, but maybe Maryland's just got to keep it within 20.
Yeah, I see
what I'm
here
taking.
his first name is Taulia, Taulia.
Yeah, baby Tua?
Yeah, so if it couldn't be
Yeah,
any harder
great.
to pronounce, but
I don't really have much to add to that except, like, this isn't the Ohio State that we've seen the last 6, 7, 8 years where they're out there dominate, putting up 60 a week. They've been struggling on offense. I mean, yeah, they have Marvin Harrison Jr., who I think they should just throw to every single time. Dude's a beast. But like I said, it's Maryland's 5-0, like, and Ohio State could have one loss. I mean, they basically won on the last second against Notre Dame. So I really think, yeah, I mean, I thought the line was 21.5, still 20 is still a good line. 21.5 though is a lot more comfortable, but I'm taking the points in Maryland for 2 actually.
yeah, I'm gonna take Maryland. Also, too many points again. Again, it's one of those things where, like, if Maryland was like 2-3 even, I could understand the 21-point spread. But again, it's like Kentucky. It's like 2-3 touchdown spreads against teams that like don't necessarily have a 5-0 record against nobodies. They have like a decent 5-0 record where they look good. They look solid. Like they look like they can manufacture some offense, play a little defense. I just think it's too much again. Like, and Maryland might have the best quarterback in the game, so I mean that's a huge thing. If you're gonna give the best QB 20-point spread, I mean I'll take it. So I'm gonna take Maryland here too with the +20.
Not often there's you say somebody has a better quarterback than an Ohio State team.
Yeah.
Dude, I might. Oh, I don't know if I'm just thinking myself out of it because Ohio State's coming off a bye week now, and I'm like,
Super dog.
dude, 2 weeks, super. Oh man, that would be a massive hit on the super dog. Oh man,
Off a bye week.
What were you thinking, or what were you?
I might flip right over to Ohio State -20.
Yeah.
Just because of the depth in the bye week. The bye week is good because they've had 2 weeks to prepare for Maryland, and now that just for 1 point, just for 1 point.
We're trying to keep that 66%, bro. What are you doing?
I know, but we can't all have the same picks all going through it. And then I looked at my notes and saw that bye week thing I'd put in there, and I was like, you know what? I mean, 20 points. It doesn't make sense. And usually I like to take some of these ones that don't make sense and just bet them because it's like Vegas is making us look dumb sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that Chiefs game. Like, oh my God, so mad.
I also love to look at the over-under, like when there's 20 points, right? I like to look at the over-under and be like, okay, so what is Vegas saying the final score is going to be, right? The over-under is 57, so essentially they're saying they're going to win like 33-23 or like what?
Yeah.
Like 40-20, something like that. Yeah, so it's like, I don't know, man. That seems like a big win, right? To say that Maryland will not score over 3 or 4 touchdowns, like I just don't feel confident that that's what's actually going to happen. All right, what's the next one?
Oh, I love how you say the big 2 for last. I love that.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
sure.
Of course, has to.
We're going.
So we'll save the best for last. We'll go OU Texas next. No, I'm just kidding.
We got Alabama -2 at Aggie, and man, usually I take at least the past since we've been doing this, right? This season, last season, the Aggies have just like had a loss that makes everyone disrespect them, right? And then I just know the talent's there because I follow recruiting, and I usually try to get the Aggies where the public doesn't like them. So it's hard for me because their defense is good. Their 2 big D tackles, freaking Nolan and I think it's Shamar Turner, been absolutely beasting. These teams are so similar in the fact that it's defense based right now. I think the Aggies have more. Max Johnson is more of a known commodity at quarterback, but kind of the unknown with Milroe. If you can kind of build around his skill set, which is kind of being a run quarterback, and he is good at the deep shots. He's just not ready yet to make all the reads himself, right, and be that complete quarterback. I probably wouldn't have even wanted to play this game because it would probably be, I don't know. It's a really toss-up for me. I couldn't just go out and give advice, but
it is a hard pick, huh? Even I was like looking at the line, like, man, I don't know, man.
With Texas having, even Vegas knows, right? It's -2. With Texas having that win against Bama, I'm strictly picking Bama just for that strength of schedule boost. Give me Bama -2 for 1 point. Not confident at all.
That's all right, Ryan. Go ahead.
Really, yeah, I think it comes down to they're
all the signs are pointing
exactly the same, like you said. It's going to be just straight defense and running because the Aggies aren't going to trust Max Johnson to throw it 35 times, and either Bama's not going to let Milroe even throw it 20 times. I think his ability to run, though, and the fact that he looks like, the biggest dude on the field is going to be a problem for anyone when he plays. I think, -2. I mean, really all the same reasons Ian said. It's gonna be I mean, if it and then it just comes down to being like, well, who has the better coach? Like Saban's gonna outcoach anyone in the country, and so I'm just gonna. I mean, I'm not confident at all. I think I'm like I was telling Ian and Kevin, who both actually agreed. Like, sadly, I agree. I'm like, dude, it's gonna be a close game, but I think either way, it's just gonna be close. I think though, I'm just gonna take Bama that, but that could be just biased to the fact that what they've just been dominating for 20 years.
So I'm obviously taking Aggies, but I think it is justified. I mean, it is a 2-point spread, right? So it is a close game. It's not like I'm coming out of nowhere. But in my opinion, A&M, it's gonna be crazy to hear this, but I honestly think this. A&M is better in every single aspect of this game except for their DBs and their coach. I think they have a better overall quarterback, offensive line, running backs, wide receivers, linebacker, defensive line. I think they are better all over the field. Now, we're catching Bama in a down year too, so it's not like, I'm not trying to say this is every year and this is not the norm, but I do think right now, as Aggies are coming up, and talent-wise anyways, and Bama's having a down year, so far this year, A&M has beating them essentially in every position on the field, right? And I believe A&M is number 1 in sack percentage, and I think they're also number 1 in this thing I heard called havoc plays on defense, which essentially is you either break up a pass, a turnover, a sack, a tackle for loss, essentially anything that's not positive yardage or an incomplete pass, essentially, is like considered a havoc play. They're number 1 in that too. Alabama has struggled on the offensive line very mightily. They do have good DB, so I'm hoping that Petrino can do something there, get creative a little bit, give them some different looks, right? Milroe, the one thing that made me eventually tilt her over to A&M, right, was when they played Jefferson last week for Arkansas. He's a little bit of the same style as Milroe. Again, maybe not as top end athletically, but the one thing that they did and that I heard and I also saw is that they contained him, right? If A&M runs past Milroe this week or they get out of position on Milroe, I think it could be a bad day for the Aggies or a long game. I think they know that, though, and I think they have the defensive line and the linebackers to do it. I think they're going to contain Milroe. I think they're going to do a good job getting pressure on him. I think that's the difference. I think A&M's front seven is going to be able to wreak more havoc than Bama's offensive line will be able to overcome, or Milroe will be able to make plays to kind of compensate for it, right? If the Aggies can contain Milroe, don't necessarily have to get a sack, right? Pressure him, be around him, do not let him escape. I think the Aggies get the win, right? That's essentially what I think it's going to come down to. And the A&M DBs, they have had some bad games, like against Miami. They are going to have to play a lot better. They have been so far, right, since that game, but they're going to have to not let like a long 3rd down and 12 or something, right, get converted after the defensive front, had a good 1st and 2nd down. They cannot give up big 3rd downs with the DBs. And if they can do that, the front seven can get pressure. I think that's the end result. I think A&M will score. I think they'll get at least 28 points. If they can keep Bama under that, that's kind of where I put the game at. So that's my take on it. I'm only going to put maybe 1 or 2. Maybe I'll get hyped up Saturday morning and put a 3 on it. But I'm just going to put 1 on it, I think. But I think A&M gets the dub. I really do. I feel confident about it, right? Like not just bumping my gums as usual, but I think they are actually the better team on paper and so far in the metrics too. So that's my rant.
Yeah.
I was about to say, Nick, you obviously did your research on this one. I will say, if the Aggies score 28, they're definitely going to win that game. Alabama, I don't even think Alabama has scored. Like, even against, what is it?
Not against a Power 5 team.
They just crushed Mississippi State 40-17, but you're right. Technically, what is MTSU? Middle Tennessee State? They got 56, but that doesn't really count.
That didn't count.
Yeah.
But like South, what is it?
17 Southern Florida and 24 against Mississippi.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think their offense isn't as explosive as it has always been. I think like with the difference between Jefferson and Milroe, Jefferson, I think is more. It's always designed runs, right? I think Milroe is more of a improvise whenever his O line, which is like insane. The fact that they're bigger than any NFL D line at all. They're all like 350 pounds, which I think is actually hurting them that they're that big.
Could be,
They
yeah.
But
haven't lived
Saban
up
wanted to
to it
come
for
back with
sure.
that punish football, but if they can't if
yeah,
they can't keep up with speed on the end, then
or they're getting gassed by like the second quarter. Like
yeah.
that's a big body to walk around with, much less play football in. But if the Aggies scored 28, I mean, I think they take the game. And in no way do I have any confidence on either way. I think it's gonna be a freaking battle. I think it's too close in talent for it not to be. It just had y'all have like Wiegman, I think I would have leaned more towards the Aggies. Max Johnson looks good at times, but then he also can make some really dumb throws.
Yeah,
But we
he had two really bad turnovers last week, especially the one running. I thought that was really stupid because if he goes down, like it's nice that we have him as a backup, but we're one injury away from like being totally cooked, right? Like right now we're kind of I think going on fumes and like everyone's hyped up and Max Johnson is good, but if we lose him, then we definitely have no chance whatsoever.
And how about the ramifications for this game? Both Aggies and Bama still have everything they want to achieve in front of them.
Yeah,
If they could both win out, and they could take the SEC West. They could, if they beat Georgia, they're in the playoff, or presumably Georgia in the SEC championship game. Like everything they need is still there. So this game is huge.
Yeah, and they're the only two undefeated teams in the West still. And I was gonna say, like from week 2 against Miami to now is like total, like it's a total 180, right? Like you figured, fuck, like we just got smoked by Miami, like we're not where we need to be. And now we've like cooked the last 2 teams we played, and even against Arkansas and Auburn, we played a little sloppy, right? Like there's still a lot of things I think could be tweaked, and we still crushed them pretty good. And what's nice too is like I know the Aggie logic comparison, right? But like Arkansas did really good against LSU and against who did we just talk about?
Kentucky.
Georgia. They did really good. They played Georgia too, I think. They did really good against Georgia.
They kept it close.
Auburn did. That's right. Auburn did really good against Georgia. And it's like we've seen a couple of these teams play other teams, and just trying to get a week-to-week comparison, it seems like, yeah, like you say, A&M and Alabama have, I mean, they are the 2 favorites to win the West right now, I would think. Maybe not. I guess if LSU here wins again.
No, it's got to be.
You would think, but you never know again on the rankings. But again, I think we can beat LSU. I think we can beat Bama. Like it's gonna be a dogfight out there. But A&M's probably gonna be favored, depending on how LSU does the rest of the year. A&M after this game, and maybe see what happens at Tennessee this week. Alabama and Tennessee, like after these games, we might be favored the rest of the way if we can win 2 big games here back to back.
Yeah,
Which
and
then also makes that Kentucky game even bigger for Georgia. I mean, I think that spread's ridiculous for Kentucky, but anyways.
Yeah, I think it is too.
Bama's defense holding Ole Miss to 10 points, 300 yards is also kind of scary.
Georgia's defense is always. I mean, it's just their offense this year. It's just been.
I'm talking about Bama.
Yeah, Bama held. Yeah,
they did a job on Ole Miss, and then you saw what Ole Miss did to LSU. So we'll see but then the Aggies defense has been kind of clicking too. So it's gonna be a good one. And
Arkansas got a late touchdown there. I mean, so we really only let 10 to Auburn and maybe like 2 touchdowns to Arkansas, which, and A&M even had another touchdown like right at the end of the game that they just called dead, forward progress, that he got pushed into the end zone right after he blew his whistle. So that score could have looked even worse. But yeah, man, the defense is going to have to win us game, or not win us games, but over the season, if we look back and we have a good season, it's going to be because the defensive front got to the quarterback is ultimately, I think, is hopefully what the big difference is this year, right? Like last year we had a stingy defense, like it was not bad, but we didn't like make a lot of plays. We didn't get in the backfield enough and sort of cause havoc. This year it feels totally different. Feels like
Man,
another click up.
yeah, imagine if y'all still had A-Chain. That guy is a monster.
Yeah, we have
We're
a
trying to give a little subtle shout out to his fantasy football team. That's what he's doing.
yeah. I have
Dude, I did
Mostert,
not
so
know
it's
he was
kind
a
of
track
bittersweet.
star.
Yeah, dude,
that
he's
dude is
crazy.
he's huge and he runs like a 4.3, 4.2. Like, I did not know he was a track star. Like, dude's insane. Fits well in the Dolphins with the other two. But anyways,
Yeah, and A&M special teams looks good too. We had a punt return, and we almost had a on when they were returning a kick. The receiver like dodged one guy, and the second guy poked it out, and an Aggie ran like right by the ball as it was, and he like got two hands on it, and it went right through his hands. Like he almost like from 10 yards out, almost just had it for another touchdown. But yeah. But I'm stoked. This is a big weekend for us and for you, Ian. So,
Dude, I'm glad, dude. It's a 11 a.m. game and then a 2 p.m. game. We don't gotta flip back and forth. We get to watch them both. Yeah, dude, huge game. Can't wait for this weekend.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, everybody's either gonna probably turn their phones off or it's gonna be a lot of shit talking going down.
Yeah.
Which brings us to Texas -6.5. This was the spread yesterday. I don't know what it is today.
It's 5.
-6.5. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dude, I got oh wait,
Well,
Texas at -5.
Texas -5 because I put I got OU plus 6.5 and to win straight up on some tickets, so it's definitely come down a little bit.
Damn it.
Well, then
I
let me
got
type
Texas
in
6.5 and I was like
-5 there.
loving it. It hasn't hit 7 yet. And he's like, it could go the other way.
It's at
Yeah,
-5. The over under is 60 and a half.
I think what's driving that is ESPN's FPI has OU favored.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the
Wow.
that's the big thing like floating around. I think it's more has to do with the fact clearly I just wrote it down now. Texas -5 for a fat 3. The biggest confidence you can get. We saw the 49-0 last year. A lot of those players transferred out of Oklahoma. But they did bring in, I think it was 11 in the transfer portal. Most of those playmakers on defense. And I think that's where the hype coming from OU's coming from, right? They have looked good on defense. Granted, it's against Tulsa and SMU, Arkansas State, and then probably the 2 worst Big 12 teams in Cincinnati and Iowa State. Texas is better in the trenches, better in the O-line, better D-line. I don't know. OU might have the upper hand with DBs. Texas has been a little susceptible to the deep ball this year. Watts is injured in the Kansas game. We just got the news that Jatavion Sanders, the big playmaker tight end for Texas, he'll be playing. So
I think he leads the nation, right?
Yeah, leads the nation in receiving yards for tight end. I just think it's too much.
Number 2 tight end to be drafted behind Bowers.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Bowers is an absolute monster. You saw him basically win that game last week, but I think there's too many playmakers, and the depth is there for Texas. We know that. They've been kind of a second half team this year, which I think will play into their favor. The environment is it's like unlike any other where they have it split down the middle, right? So there's constant cheering nonstop in that game. So if you can get up on somebody, then you essentially never stop. You will never stop hearing noise because there's no home away, right? The other team's crowd is there. So if you get up, it really benefits you, and the other team can kind of get out of it. I don't think that it's going to be a blowout by any means, but I do think in the second half, Texas pulls away. Just too many playmakers, and I think the depth is there.
So the line is now 5.
Texas -5.
Man, I did all my betting at 6.5, loving it not being 7, thinking it was going to go the other way.
That's what I thought too.
I saw it this morning. It dropped to 6, and I was like, "Oh man, it's going the other way." But I think where Texas is going to have problems, like Ian says, the deep ball, which I've been telling them this all week, and he says, "All you do is rag on the and you can find anything to make fun of Texas." I'm like, "Good dude, their DBs have been burned. Even Kansas' backup quarterback burned them bad,
It was
throwing
just
a
one play.
one too many." So, I mean, Dylan, it's close, right? You got two really good quarterbacks. You do have like the only thing is we haven't seen if Venable's defense is that good. Like they've played a bunch of cupcakes. They're getting ready for the SEC, scheduling cupcakes, right? Then they played Cincinnati. I know
Texas
I'm
is
just
going.
joking, but they played Cincinnati, and then that looked bad for them. They won the game, but it wasn't pretty. And Cincinnati, what are they? 2-2, 3-2. They're not world beaters. Uh,
2-2.
yeah. So I think. I mean, I do think though it's going to be. I mean, it's gonna. I think it's going to be a lower scoring. I think the only way that Oklahoma scores is going to be through the air over the DBs. I think there's no way they run on Texas. I think if Texas can just slow it down and gash them. I mean, Texas obviously clearly has a better run game. Just if Sark doesn't get cute with it, just runs the ball and and if Ewers is in the game because he does have these weird moments, if he's in it, I think Texas wins it. It's just I mean they tend to be close, so I'm just gonna take uh, Texas for one. I mean, and I do think it can go either way. I know the FPI. I mean, I don't really. I mean, like I said, they've been just going with that, but I mean, really, it's just Dylan Gabriel is really all Oklahoma has, and they've only played Cincinnati, so it's hard to get a gauge on like how good is this defense going to be against good schools, which they did hold Cincinnati, but I mean, Cincinnati's not really anything good.
Yeah, so my two favorite teams so far this year on betting have been Oklahoma and UNC. And I did like Oklahoma at 6.5. At -5 though for Texas, I think I probably am gonna switch over to Texas. I had some bets out on Oklahoma to win straight up or with 6.5, so I did honestly bet on Oklahoma, but at -5, I think I probably go ahead and take Texas. This game script's a lot of the same in terms of the A&M and Bama one. Is I think Texas's front seven is going to have to get to Gabriel and pressure him a little bit. Texas has a really good front seven as well, especially their D line specifically. So I think they can do it. They are able to do it. This is all about big plays, right? If Gabriel makes a few big plays, then they can hang around. But if Texas is able to control this game on the ground, Ewers, I keep waiting for Ewers to break out a little more. Haven't quite seen it yet. He definitely, I think he's good. Like you watch him, he definitely looks like a pro. He could be a pro quarterback, right? He's got the mechanics and everything, but I'm just waiting for a monster game or season. Who knows? Maybe it's this game, but I think if Texas can control this game on the ground and they can keep Gabriel from making some big play, again, the third and longs. If Gabriel's able to scramble and keep a drive alive, something like that, those can be backbreakers. But if Texas can do that, and I think their front seven can handle him, and if they can get to him before he can find receivers, essentially, I think that's the game, and I think Texas can comfortably run the ball with Brooks. So I think at -5, I'm going to go ahead and probably switch over to Texas just for one. I don't feel too confident about either way, to be honest with you. I do see here on the ESPN thing, it's got 54.4% for Oklahoma, 45.6% for Texas. I think that's crazy, but yeah, -5, I'm going to take Texas for 1 point.
Yeah, with the
Go ahead.
the FPI thing, it's because Oklahoma has been dominant. They're top 5 in FPI and offensive defense, right? But it's I think they're gonna find out what happens when the other team on the other side actually hits them back. So that's one thing we don't know yet for Oklahoma. And then I was just looking right now. The over/under is 60, and I'm going to take the under on that.
That's a
I think
lot,
the
yeah.
defenses are good. I think the defense target. It's been a historically very high scoring game, but I think that, and that's mostly the last decade or so, Texas hasn't really had a defense, right? And OU was obviously with Lincoln Riley. I think that that's more on the history of this game. If Venables is where he wants to be on that defense, then this game should be under, right? So I'm going to take the under as well.
Yeah,
I
the
was
power.
saying the
Sorry,
under,
go ahead, Ren.
Uh, Ian, did you say, or maybe I was just it's somebody else? Doesn't Texas lead the nation in pressures?
No, Ohio State leads in quarterback pressures, but Texas is up there in quarterback pressures. Last year,
Yeah.
I think they were like top 5, but they had very few sacks. Like
And they're
this year,
much
they're kind
better
of
this
finishing
year.
them off.
I think it's all gonna rely on Gabriel because they're not gonna run the ball on Texas. But
Yeah, that too.
Oklahoma, I really with if Venables has a good, it's gonna be like I said. Ian said it too. I think it's definitely gonna hit the under, and I'm just that's really just Gabriel. I think they can control him. They controlled Milrow pretty good, and Gabriel's not Milrow.
Yeah, the power index also I think must take into account margin of victory because like Oklahoma's got some big ones in there compared to
like a 73-0 Arkansas State,
66-17 Tulsa, 50-20 Iowa State, and definitely Texas doesn't have anything like that. I mean, not that really matters, but their biggest win is by 32 points, and then all the other ones are like within 25.
Yeah, they got some duds in there too, though. The SMU game and the Cincy game were relatively close games for like kind of what OU had been doing up to that point.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it comes down some more, and I get to play both sides. I'll actually put a bet on like a money bet on Texas. But in terms of our thing, I'm gonna take Texas -5 for a point, and then but I have some bets out there with actual money with Oklahoma with the points or just winning straight up.
Yeah, I mean it's a good bet because those rivalry games are just always notoriously close. You really throw the line out the window. I mean, even the past few years where one team has been better than the other, minus that what was it, 55-0 or
49-0 last year.
Yeah, but yeah, that's about it.
Was that the last college game?
That was the last college. Y'all know y'all super dogs yet?
Oklahoma.
Well, they're not a
Even
super
though I
dog
picked
now. They're not a super dog now.
I picked Texas, but I'm
Now
just gonna.
It's only 5, Ren.
Oh shit. Oh, Missouri.
I'm thinking about going Kentucky, man. Shooting for that 14.5 or 15 or whatever.
That's such a good one. Like, if Nick hits that one, he's running away. I'm copying him then.
I'm taking Wyoming +7 Fresno.
I thought about betting on Fresno -6, and now it's -7. I'm kind of regretting that. But yeah, that's not a bad one. I was sort of going back and forth with that. Fresno's like 25, right? They're ranked.
Hold on, let me check my I got some bets here, so I know I bet on some college game.
The only other game that I liked was UNC -9 versus Virginia Tech. That's actually my lock of the week for college. I put 3 on it, or -9 versus Syracuse. Sorry.
Got the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs over the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, +6. So
is that your super dog?
I think it's just another one he liked.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, the other, I have a 3 on here. I got Kansas -1.5 versus UCF.
You know what, Ian? That is my super dog.
I'm taking that one for 3 points. I think Kansas, even if, I mean, I feel like their quarterback should be back, but even if he's not, Ryan and I were looking at the quarterback they played last week that they started. He's like a track star. He was kind of held in check a little bit, but I mean, I think Kansas be more talented than UCF. Might be a little closer than maybe on the talent front than I'm thinking, but I mean, only -1.5.
UCF lost to Baylor, bro. I would say that's a good
dog
bet.
Last week. They gave up like 30 points in the fourth or something like that.
Yeah, I think that might be a good bet. Nice little gym there.
I also have a bet on a Liberty -21 over Sam Houston.
Wait, hold on a second. ESPN has UCF -2.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe the QB was announced. Oh, UCF -2. Then I'll take Kansas. I'll take Kansas straight up.
With a little bit of juice, yeah.
Yeah, juicing it.
Go
Was
ahead, Ren.
Kansas
Sorry.
getting what was he in? What was what was his injury? Concussion?
Yeah, now I'm gonna look that up because I wonder why UCF would be favored.
It's in Kansas too.
Daniels.
The only thing I hate about ESPN College is no injury report.
Yeah, so their backup is starting. So Kansas's backup is starting.
Isn't that the guy who finished the game against Texas though?
He started the game against Texas.
Oh, and then he went
Their
out.
starting quarterback never even played.
Okay.
So
Still though, I'd still take Kansas. That don't bother me at all.
yeah, and they've had a whole week this time to kind of. Well, now it would be possibly 2 weeks. We just didn't know about maybe that Jalen Daniels or whatever his name is wasn't playing. So 2 weeks now for him to get the offense going. They're running a lot of triple options. If UCF can't stop it, the dude, I mean, he gashed Texas first play of the game, took off.
Bro,
Or that
I
might have
had
been the
no
running back.
idea UCF was in the Big 12.
That's one of the new teams.
Yeah, I know. I
Like,
totally slipped my mind.
The conferences are crazy now. Like whatever they say, like Big 12, like Southeastern or what's the other like
ACC.
nothing has anywhere to do with location anymore. It's just they're just throwing teams everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, now they did a fight for survival now.
Dude, I think
Yeah.
Ian, your tier system like soccer, but you make it geographical also, like 4 areas or something.
Dude, the Pac-12 is thinking about it.
Yeah,
Or they're
East
trying to
Coast,
come up
West
with a way.
Coast, North and South. Yeah, and you make like tiers within each geographical region. That'd
Yeah,
be
little,
pretty interesting.
They were, I think it's Oregon State and Washington State are the last 2 remaining. And I think they're coming up with a way with the Mountain West. But some of the things against it are when you get what would be relegated, they would have to come up with kind of a financial system for like those first couple years to kind of make up for the revenue you're losing, right? I think that the big soccer teams do that. So, I mean, obviously there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. I mean, I think it makes it kind of exciting that they're even talking about it.
Yeah.
It's just so out there
Soccer
that-
might have finally got something right with like the
Right?
if you have a whole bunch of teams, like how to make a ranking system that actually
Yeah,
makes
make them
sense.
pay for it, dude.
I don't think though. I think it's too hard to say like, oh, you're gonna be relegated because you only get these kids for a certain amount of time, and you can't, like an owner who has billions of dollars go buy good players, make them better. Like, yeah, you go recruit, right? That's the equivalent of them buying and signing the players, but you only get them for 2-3 years.
So what about if they did a cumulative? If you're if you average this amount in 3 years, or maybe just the lowest of a 3-year span, then if
That
you're in the
makes more
bottom,
sense, I think, because I think 1 year isn't fair. Like, you could lose a whole bunch of people to the draft and be a great team, and then let's say go from first to worst. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really happen a lot in college because they usually stay good if they're at the top. But I mean, it just something weird like that could happen, and like,
yeah, first to
oh,
worst. I
we've been
never think of
dominant for
that.
10 years, now we're relegated.
All right, real quick,
That's a good
NFL. Do you guys have any NFL?
I'm taking Texans over. I think they're. I exited now because I was looking at
Like a
the
little
Atlanta.
baby under.
Atlanta. Yeah. Really, Atlanta only has Bijan Robinson. Their quarterback, not impressive. I don't even know a receiver, London, I guess, and they're getting 1.5. I think Stroud. I think he's up there with Goff, some dude named Brady, as he hit as the quickest people to hit 1,000 yards. Like, I mean, he's just really made like 2 mistakes.
That's way too short, bro. 1,000 yards, like that doesn't.
No. I could be.
I mean, it doesn't mean
different
nothing,
stat.
but it's
No,
like
no. Maybe it's not 1,000 yards. It was some stat that was really impressive, and it was up there with some really good names. I think out of the 2 quarterbacks, I think that Carolina, I think, is just throwing Bryce Young. I mean, this is off topic, but they're just throwing him away, and they're just throwing it every down, and he's just getting murdered.
Yeah, CJ.
But
I like CJ Stroud. So I have an upset ticket this week. It's A&M straight up, Kentucky straight up, Oklahoma when it was 6.5, although it's still a straight up bet, and I like the Texans straight up too. They're plus 1.5, a little bit of juice, but I like this game too. I think Texans might be a good play going forward against the spread if people keep having the same. I think, dude, this team looks way better. Just
it looks night and day.
I mean, the defense was always. Y'all's defense has never like been bottom of the barrel, but it's always been like decent. It's definitely good now. And if CJ Stroud can just mix that drink a little bit, be the stir, I think that Texans could be a sneaky good play going forward, in my opinion.
And with our division, I honestly would be surprised if someone wins it at 8-8. So,
yeah,
I agreed with y'all on that Texans straight up. I don't know. I just wrote it down as Texans plus, I think they're like 106. And then my only other play is Jags plus 5.5 versus Bills because it's in London. Jaguars, they know that routine. They're there every year. It seems like a low line, but I think that's why. So I'm taking the Jags plus 5.5 versus Bills.
Possibly. I'm the other way.
I'm totally the other way on that one too. Yeah,
I cannot do that with the Bills against.
It seems crazy.
Basically a two-man offense.
Now, I will say this. I thought the spread would be like 7 because the Jags are struggling. Bills seem to have finally hit their stride. But, yeah, so maybe it's something. But I got to take the Bills. Bills
came off a huge win. A huge win.
Yeah.
Maybe they're right.
Maybe
this
is
dude. Now
like
they're
you said,
traveling to
huge
England.
Win, trap game, London. No, still, like.
Maybe.
The Bills could be at 75% and still destroy the Jags.
They're grabbing too many pints in the pub, dude.
In the pub. I'll definitely, Bills. I'm definitely.
If anybody from
that.
England ever made a parody video called "In the Pub," that would be hilarious.
In the
to
pub.
The 50 Cent
oh
in
my
the
God.
club.
You can find me in the pub.
Exactly.
Oh my God. That actually is pretty funny.
Also, Detroit, they could score. I think even though I took the Chiefs last week at 8 and the Eagles at 9, I still think though Carolina is the worst offensive team I've ever seen.
Detroit's my survivor play this week.
Detroit, I'm gonna take Detroit.
Subtle brag. You're still in Survivor.
I'm in that big one with Kenny still too.
Oh yeah, how many people are left in that one?
Like 30 maybe. It always starts with like over 100 too, so it's.
How many people were shit in the bed on the Eagles game?
I was one of them. I was like, oh my God.
Dude, they looked. I mean, Howell was just carving them up, and I'm like, where? They weren't even getting pressure on them with that line they usually have. Sam Howell's like, all right, now I'm a believer. Like, he's no longer the UNC old quarterback.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to take Miami over the Giants. I don't care if it's 12. Miami could score with, like, right now. I mean, for some reason, they're like, oh, we're up 50, but let's keep Tua in and make it 70, which I think is a horrible move for guys who had concussion problems. But the Giants, like, they injured, I think, their starting tight end and guard on a QB sneak. So both those dudes are out, and they're already ridiculously bad. Like, I don't like what's gonna happen. Miami's gonna get up, and then you're gonna have to rely on
Giants are a playoff team. They're not ridiculously bad.
Giants,
weren't they?
They're a wild card, I think.
Yeah, but okay, that was with Saquon. Well, Saquon does come back, but we all know the Dolphins are most likely gonna get up early, and then you're gonna rely on what's the Duke's quarterback's name?
Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones.
You rely on Daniel Jones to come back, and that's never a good thing.
Saquon questionable.
Yeah, so questionable.
Yeah, exactly.
I took the over 48 in this game.
You got what?
I took the over 48. If Miami's defense is really that bad as they looked last week, and Miami's also going to score, then I took the over 48 for that game.
I think what's going to happen, Miami's going to get up. I took them in fantasy, the defense to start against you, because I think they're going to get up, and Jones is going to have to throw the ball, and he's either going to get sacked or intercepted. I mean, it's not like he's I really don't know.
You just don't like Jones. You just can't believe it.
No, he's been one of the best at betting against this whole year for me. And I was going to bet Cincinnati, but I'm just off the Cincinnati train. They just look like garbage. even though it's the Cardinals with I don't even was it Josh Johnson or not Josh Johnson? Uh,
I don't even know who they're starting.
Dobbs.
Dobbs. There you go. The guy that Uh, I just Cincinnati. I don't understand the huge drop off. Like they didn't lose anybody. It's just is Burrow still that hurt or what?
I don't know. It's Cincinnati -3. That does seem like a gimme.
Yeah, but it's just like and then you turn it on, you're like, and then they just can't move the ball. You can tell Chase is getting frustrated. He's like, I am open, like what he said or at the media or whenever the media was asking questions, or like, and like I don't know, like you could tell that they're definitely feeling it. Maybe they come out and just destroy them, but I'm just done betting on them.
Yeah, I don't think I touched this game. The other ones I played were Baltimore -4 at Pittsburgh, and I think I took Green Bay -1 versus the Raiders, and then I took Kansas City. I think Kansas City -3.5 at Minnesota. Those were the other plays I had in the NFL.
Dude, Minnesota too. That's another one who's just dropped off. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, they lost Dalvin Cook, but I mean, they shouldn't have dropped that far off, I don't think. You're right, I did take the Ravens too. I think last game they got right. They were always better than what they had been playing. And I mean, I just don't and the Steelers just the Texans, like what I was watching like with the Texans, you get any pressure on Pickett. He can't throw when he scrambles.
he got a little
And they
banged
don't
up
have
last
any
week
type
too.
of run game.
Yeah, he
They
got a
don't
little
have any
banged up,
type of run
so
game.
I'm kind of playing on that as well. And I think Lamar makes a play or two, right, to win that 4.5 point spread. It's gonna be
Best
low
hope
ass
not,
scoring
man,
game.
bro. Best hope not.
Oh, you have Lamar, huh? Damn.
Yeah.
Hey, let El Lorenzo know she's done.
I'll let her
Got her
know.
this week.
Ian, she hasn't even put her kicker in, and she's projected to beat you. So
Wow, I didn't know you were a projection slut, Ren. You just go by the projections.
Wow, Ren. You think fantasy's
Come
played
on.
on paper? Is that what you think?
oh my god.
Dude.
It's like fantasy is nothing but played on
If
paper.
it was played on paper, just so you guys know, I would be in third place.
Oh, here we go.
Points for and points against.
All
Points
right.
against,
This
I'm
was
leading
a
the league.
good stream. This was a good one.
Yeah. All right, let's get off here before Ren starts going off.
Yeah.
All right. I'll talk to y'all next week. I hope all y'all